The Kravex was the apex predator of the known galaxy. For 12 million years, it had terrorized civilizations across 100 star systems. Standing 15 feet tall at the shoulder, covered in armor-plated scales that could deflect plasma fire, armed with retractable claws that could slice through starship hull plating, and possessing a neurotoxic venom that could paralyze prey 3 times its size, the Kravex was nature's perfect killing machine. It hunted alone, tracked prey across light years using electromagnetic senses that could detect a heartbeat from orbit, and had never, in 12 million years of documented encounters, been killed by another creature, until it made the mistake of landing on a planet called Louisiana. My name is Marcus Webb, owner of Webb's Bayou Restaurant and Game Processing outside New Orleans, former Army Ranger, current purveyor of the finest wild game in the Gulf Coast region. I've cooked alligator, wild boar, venison, rattlesnake, and just about every other creature that walked, swam, or crawled through Louisiana. But I'd never cooked an alien murder beast from outer space. At least, not until last Tuesday. It started with what the news was calling an unidentified biological entity that had crashed in the Atchafalaya Basin. The government put out warnings, stay away, dangerous, wildlife, restricted area, all the usual stuff they say when they don't want to admit aliens are real. My buddy Trent, who runs Airboat Tour through the swamp, called me at 6 a.m. Marcus, you need to see this. Something took down a bull gator last night, 12-footer, ripped clean in half. Could be another gator, they get territorial. This wasn't no gator. Whatever did this got claws the size of my forearm, and Marcus. It left tracks, big ones, nothing I've ever seen before. Louisiana boys don't scare easy. We grow up wrestling gators, hunting wild boar with nothing but dogs and knives, navigating swamps full of cottonmouths and snapping turtles. But there was something in Trent's voice that made me pay attention. I'll be there in an hour, don't do anything stupid. Too late, I already called the boys, we're gonna track it. Of course he did. Because when something dangerous shows up in Louisiana, our first instinct isn't to run, it's to figure out if it's edible. I met Trent, his cousin Ray, and 2 other guys I knew from hunting season at the edge of the basin. The tracks were impossible to miss, 3-toed prints, each one the size of a dinner plate, pressed deep into the mud. Whatever made them weighed at least 1,000 pounds. Government says stay away, Ray noted, spitting tobacco juice into the swamp. Which means we should probably stay away. Government also says taxes are necessary and light beer is acceptable, Trent countered. They're wrong about a lot of things. We followed the tracks deeper into the swamp, armed with hunting rifles, sidearms, and the casual confidence of men who'd never met a problem they couldn't shoot. About 2 miles in, we found where it had been feeding. The bull gator Trent mentioned was there, along with 2 wild boars, what looked like a deer and something that might have been a black bear once. All of them ripped apart with surgical precision, major organs removed, bones cracked open for marrow. Jesus, I muttered. Thing eats like a wolf pack. Nah, Trent said, examining the carcasses. Wolves make a mess. This is efficient, almost like it knows exactly what parts got the most nutrients. That's when we heard it. A sound like metal scraping against metal, combined with something that was almost a purr, coming from the trees above us. We looked up. The Kravex was perched in a massive cypress tree, its scaled body blending almost perfectly with the bark. It was huge, bigger than anything that had a right to be in a tree. Its eyes, 6 of them arranged in 2 rows, reflected the light like mirrors, and it was staring directly at us. "Back away slowly," I said quietly. "Don't run." "Don't," the Kravex dropped. We scattered. Trent went left, Ray went right. I went backwards and tripped over a cypress knee, landing hard in the swamp water. The creature landed where I'd been standing, its claws gouging furrows in the mud. This close, I could see it was even worse than the tracks suggested. Its mouth had 3 rows of teeth, each one serrated and designed for maximum damage. Its scales weren't just armor, they had sharp edges, turning its entire body into a weapon. And when it opened its mouth, I saw venom dripping from specialized fangs. Trent fired first, a .308 rifle round that should have dropped a black bear. It hit the Kravex square in the chest and ricocheted off its scales with a spark. "Shit!" Trent worked the bolt. "It's armored!" The Kravex turned toward him, and I saw its back plates start to rise, some kind of threat display. Ray fired, aiming for the eyes. One shot connected, and the creature shrieked, that metal scraping sound amplified to painful levels. It was hurt, but not down, and now it was pissed. What happened next was chaos. We spread out, using the cypress trees for cover, taking shots when we could. Most rounds bounced off. A few found gaps in the armor, joints, the softer scales on its underbelly, around the eyes and mouth. I emptied an entire magazine from my .45 into its side when it charged past me. Most rounds did nothing, but 2 penetrated between its front leg and torso. Dark blue blood sprayed across the swamp water. The Kravex was fast, impossibly fast for something that size. It nearly got Ray, its claws missing him by inches. It crashed through the water like it weighed nothing, despite being the size of a pickup truck. But we had advantages it didn't count on. We knew this swamp. And we'd been hunting things that wanted to kill us since we were kids. Pit trap. Trent yelled, and suddenly the plan clicked in my head. Old hunting pit covered with branches and moss about 50 yards south. We'd marked it years ago but never filled it in. If we could lure the Kravex there. "On me!" I shouted, firing twice more and running south. "Come on, you ugly bastard!" It came, of course it came. We were prey, and it was a predator that had never learned to fear anything. I ran, branches whipping my face, swamp water sucking at my boots. Behind me, that metal scraping purr got louder. I could feel the ground shaking with each of its steps. 20 yards, 10, 5. I jumped, clearing the pit trap by inches, landing hard on the other side and rolling. The Kravex didn't see it or didn't care. It charged through the camouflage and dropped 12 feet into the pit. The trap wasn't deep enough to hold it permanently, but it bought us time. We surrounded the pit, weapons aimed down. "Joint shots!" I yelled. "Under the front legs, back of the neck, anywhere the armor's weak." We fired in controlled bursts, targeting the gaps in its natural armor. The Kravex thrashed, trying to climb out, but the pit walls were slick mud and it couldn't get purchase. After what felt like an hour but was probably 3 minutes, the creature stopped moving. We stood there, breathing hard, staring at what we just killed. "What the hell is it?" Ray finally asked. "Don't know," Trent said. "But I bet the government will pay good money to recover it." I was thinking something different. I was thinking about the muscle structure, the fat deposits, the organ placement. I was thinking like a chef. "Or," I said slowly, "we could see if it's edible." They all stared at me. "You want to eat it?" Trent asked incredulously. "Marcus, that thing almost killed us. So do wild boars. We eat those all the time." I slid down into the pit carefully, examining the carcass. "Look at the muscle tone." This thing was pure protein, probably had to eat constantly to maintain this mass. And that blue blood, that's copper-based like octopus, might taste similar. You've lost your mind. Maybe I had, but I was also curious. And in Louisiana, we have a proud tradition of eating anything that can't eat us first. Help me get it out of here, I said. We'll dress it at my facility, test it for toxins, and if it's safe, we cook it. Worst case, we've got a hell of a story. Best case. We become famous for eating the galaxy's apex predator. Ray finished, starting to grin. Hell, I'm in. Getting a 15-foot alien monster out of a swamp and into my processing facility was an adventure all by itself. We used Trent's airboat, a come-along, and a lot of rope. By the time we got it back to my restaurant, we were exhausted, covered in mud and alien blood, and probably committing about 17 federal laws. But we had it. I laid out the carcass on my largest processing table, the same one I used for whole deer and gators. Even gutted and drained, the Kravex was impressive. First things first, I said, pulling on heavy-duty gloves. We need samples for toxin testing. I know a guy at Chilean who owes me a favor. We extracted tissue samples, blood, organ material. I sent everything to Dr. Sarah Kwan, a xenobiologist who I'd met through Trent's sister. She called back 3 hours later. Marcus, where the hell did you get alien tissue samples? Can't tell you that. Is it safe to eat? Long pause. Define safe. Will it kill us if we cook it properly? Based on preliminary analysis, probably not. The proteins are compatible with human digestion. The amino acid chains are similar enough to Earth-based life. There are some heavy metals, but no more than you'd find in tuna. The venom glands are obviously toxic, but if you avoid those... Another pause. You're seriously considering eating this, aren't you? Louisiana tradition, Doc. If it lives in our swamp, it goes on our table eventually. She laughed. Then here's my advice. Treat it like you would an alligator. Careful cleaning, remove all organs, cook thoroughly to at least 165 degrees internal temperature. And Marcus, if you survive, I want a full report. This could be the most significant xenobiological discovery in human history. And if I don't survive, then I'll write a very interesting paper about the humans who died eating an alien apex predator. I spent the next 12 hours processing the Kravex like I would any other game animal. The scales were incredibly hard. I burned through 3 saw blades just removing the armor plating. But underneath, the meat was fascinating. Dense muscle tissue, marbled with fat that looked almost like Wagyu beef. The color was a deep purple red, and the texture was fine-grained, more like pork than reptile. The organs were bizarre, multiple hearts, a digestive system that looked like it could process damn near anything, and a brain that was disturbingly large. I kept the venom glands in a sealed container. That stuff was dangerous, even dead. But the rest was looking like the most interesting protein I'd ever worked with. I cut test portions from different muscle groups, took the equivalent of backstrap, tenderloin, shoulder roast, and what I thought might be rib meat. Each piece got the same treatment I'd give premium game meat. Careful trimming, inspection for parasites, temperature monitoring. Then I started cooking. First attempt, simple preparation. Salt, pepper, high heat sear, finish in the oven. Internal temp 165 like Sarah suggested. The kitchen filled with an aroma that was part seafood, part red meat, with something else I couldn't quite identify, almost nutty like roasted pecans. I cut a small piece, examined it. The meat was tender, the grain visible, the color a beautiful medium. It looked perfect. Trent, Ray, and two other guys from the original Hunt crew watched me like I was about to drink poison. "Here goes nothing," I said and took a bite. The flavor hit immediately. Rich, complex, with the density of beef but the delicate texture of fish. The fat melted on my tongue, carrying flavors of the swamp, cypress, wild herbs, water. There was a slight sweetness like crab and a mineral quality that reminded me of venison. It was, without exaggeration, the most delicious thing I'd ever tasted. I swallowed, waited, checked for numbness, nausea, any sign of toxicity, nothing, just incredible flavor. "Well," Trent demanded. I cut 4 more pieces, handed them out. "Try it." One by one they did, and one by one their eyes widened. "Holy shit," Ray muttered. "It tastes like if beef and lobster had a baby and that baby was delicious." "Better than gator," Trent agreed. "Better than anything I've ever had." We spent the rest of the night experimenting. I tried different cuts, different cooking methods. Grilled, fried, braised, smoked. Made sausage, ground some for burgers, tried it in gumbo. Every preparation was extraordinary. The meat was versatile, flavorful, and unlike anything else in existence. By 3 a.m., we were sitting around my kitchen table, full and slightly amazed. "We just ate an alien," Ray said, stating the obvious. "We just ate the galaxy's deadliest predator," I corrected. "And it was delicious." "What do we do now?" Trent asked. I thought about it. About the government that would want to study the Kravex, claim it, probably lock away any evidence that it had ever been here. About the scientific value versus the culinary achievement. About the story we could tell. "We do what Louisiana does," I said finally. "We invite people over and we cook them the best meal they've ever had." The dinner service happened 3 days later. I called it Wild Game Tasting Event Special Menu. Invited food critics, local celebrities, friends, family, kept the ingredients vague, exotic protein sustainably sourced. Nobody knew what they were eating. They just knew it was incredible. I served it 5 ways: seared steaks with garlic, butter, and herbs. Smoked ribs with my signature barbecue sauce. Grilled skewers with lemon and spices. Fried nuggets with remoulade. Slow-cooked gumbo over rice. Every single dish was a hit. People asked for seconds, thirds. One food critic literally stood up and applauded. A chef from New Orleans offered to buy my entire supply at any price. "What is this?" they kept asking. "It's like nothing I've ever tasted. Is it Wagyu, some kind of exotic game?" "Family recipe," I said with a smile. "Can't reveal all my secrets." After everyone left, Trent helped me clean up. "You know we can't do this again, right? There's only one Kravex and we already ate most of it." "I know." I looked at the remaining portions in my freezer, maybe 40 pounds of the most incredible meat in existence. "But for one night we proved something important." "What's that?" "That humans will eat anything if you cook it right, even the galaxy's deadliest predator." The government eventually came asking questions. Some suit from a 3-letter agency showed up, asking about unconfirmed reports of alien biological remains in the Atchafalaya Basin. "Haven't seen anything like that," I told him honestly. "Caught a big gator last week, but that's about it." He looked around my facility, clearly suspicious but finding nothing. "If you do encounter any unusual wildlife, Mr. Webb, you're required to report it immediately." "Absolutely, officer." Wouldn't dream of doing anything else. After he left, I checked the freezer. Still about 30 pounds of Kravex left, enough for maybe 2 more special events. Sarah Kwan called that evening. "Marcus, I've been analyzing the samples you sent. This creature, wherever it came from, its biology is fascinating. Multiple redundant organs, healing factors that would put human regeneration to shame, adaptive camouflage at the cellular level. The scientific community would kill to study a specimen. Shame there aren't any specimens available, I said carefully. Yes, a terrible shame. She paused. Though I hear you're serving an incredible new dish at your restaurant, some kind of exotic game, just experimenting with new recipes. Of course, well, if you ever need any more samples analyzed, or if you're hosting another one of those special dinners, I'd love to attend. I smiled. I'll keep you in mind, Doc. 3 months later, I was featured in a Louisiana cuisine magazine, Webb's Bayou, where traditional meets extraordinary. The article praised my innovative approaches to wild game preparation and mentioned, in passing, a special event featuring an undisclosed protein that attendees called transformative and unlike anything else in existence. The Kravex became the stuff of legend in certain circles. The best meal that never officially happened. People who attended that dinner party still talk about it, still ask me what it was, still beg for one more serving. I never told them, partly because nobody would believe it, mostly because the best stories are the ones that leave people wondering. The last portion of Kravex is still in my freezer, vacuum sealed and dated. I'm saving it for something special. Maybe my daughter's wedding. Maybe my own retirement dinner. Maybe the day another one crashes in the swamp. Because if there's one Kravex, there might be others. And if another one shows up in Louisiana, terrorizing the wildlife and threatening the locals, well, we'll do what we always do. We'll track it, hunt it, and turn it into the best damn meal anybody's ever tasted. That's the Louisiana way. The apex predator of the known galaxy met the apex predators of Earth and ended up on our dinner table. Dr. Kwan's research paper was finally published last month. Hypothetical xenobiological nutritional profiles, theoretical applications of extraterrestrial proteins in human cuisine. It was purely theoretical, of course. Just speculation about what alien life might taste like if properly prepared. The paper's acknowledgement section thanked M.W., chef and naturalist, for his invaluable insights on field preparation of theoretical specimens. I framed a copy and hung it in my restaurant, right above the menu board. And sometimes, late at night when the restaurant is closed and I'm alone in the kitchen, I'll take out that last vacuum-sealed portion of Kravex and just look at it. Remember the hunt, the fear, the chaos, and then the discovery that even the deadliest beast in the galaxy was just another ingredient waiting for the right chef. The galaxy's apex predator, Louisiana's latest delicacy. All because humans don't ask, is it dangerous? We ask, how should we cook it? And that, more than any weapon or technology, is what makes us the real apex predators. We don't just survive our enemies, we eat them. And they're delicious.